whenever I get asked about ISIS, I don't know what to say. I say, listen, are you asking me why in a country that was first subjected to 13 years of economic sanctions that led to the deaths of over 1 million children, then it was pointlessly invaded in 2003 by the United States and Great Britain and some other countries on premises that nobody considers valid, in a war that nobody thinks was a good idea, except apparently Tony Blair still thinks it's a good idea. Nobody thinks that war is a good idea. The institutions of that country were completely destroyed. Law and order completely removed. Right? The United States and Great Britain then completely fail to solve any of the underlying problems in that country. They leave that country in a state of chaos. Lowest count, 170,000 civilians die as a result of the American-led invasion. Highest reliable count by the Lancet in 2013, around 760,000 Iraqi civilians had died as a result of the invasion. Imagine, Iraq's a country, it's only about 30 million people, I think, population, a very small population. Imagine how many people that would be in the United States if that percentage of people died. Imagine what we would think had happened to our country. It would be unbelievable. We would be the most, and how many Americans have asked why 760,000 Iraqi civilians have died? How many people have shed tears over those people's deaths? How many people have asked about what's wrong with our politics that we do these kind of things and then don't accept accountability? Instead, when 3 Westerners are beheaded, and I condemn their beheading, I grieve for their families, I think it's terrible, okay? But when 3 Westerners are beheaded, suddenly people start asking, what's wrong with Islam? Where is the logic there? That's the most illogical chain of thought I've ever heard in my life. In addition, these hostages had been held, some of them for 2 years, and nothing had happened. They hadn't been executed. So if this is really about Islam and Muslims, why is it that somehow, oddly, they're only executed after the Americans start bombing Iraq? That sounds more like a political cause than a religious cause. In addition, if you watch the videos that the people put out, these groups put out, they're citing political reasons. They're saying, President Obama, you're now bombing Iraq. Here's, our response. They're not saying that I, as a Muslim, it's my sacred duty to kill random Western people. No. Think about how it's if I, as a Muslim scholar and a professor, if I sit there and engage in a long apology about how Islam is a religion of peace and Muslims are good people, and if I go on Fox News and do that, I'm actually furthering. I'm kind of facilitating a sickness in this country, which is that people don't think about the consequences of their actions overseas. They don't think about the consequences that they have on the millions of people who lose their lives, on the millions of families that are destroyed. They don't think about them because they're not American, because they're not white. Okay, and that's ridiculous. I can't imagine anybody actually getting up and mounting a reasonable defense of that view of the world. And they don't think about the consequences it has for the hatred that this sows against Americans abroad. I'm not a courageous person. I'm a selfish person, I'll be honest. I don't want to be attacked. I don't want my family to be hurt. I don't want my city to be attacked. I would rather have the smallest number of possible people abroad who want to do me harm. And I do not understand why some people think it is in the best interest of American citizens to increase tenfold, hundredfold the number of people who want to do harm to Americans. I always remember this great Onion headline, if anyone ever reads the Onion. New bomb able to create 1,000 new terrorists with single blast.